For the last 5 of 6 years, Canterbury has made their way to the state Final Four under the direction of Jody Moore. Taylor Bump and the 8th grade sensations on this Canterbury team are fired up and ready to go. Meanwhile, Coach Mark Richard, 13 seasons now at the helm for the Eagles, and they are fielding their dreams for another hope of a state championship in 2A. We are heads up and ready to see some balls fly out of this ballpark for our 2A state championship game. It's Championship Saturday from the historic Vero Beach Sports Village. St. Petersburg, Canterbury, and Pine Castle Christian out of Orlando start off the day in the 2A state championship game. Hello and thanks for joining us. Alongside Francesca Anea, I'm Tiffany Green. Francesca, both teams won big in their semifinal game. How much of a factor will momentum be going into today's contest?
Well, the semifinal game was more of a warm-up rather than a test. Each team has taken on the mindset of one game at a time. They're both prepared and focused for this championship game.
It's Bay Area versus Central Florida, and both of these schools have built strong programs in their respective areas.
Neither team will be bothered by being on the big stage. They both played in a championship game and won championships. Two very similar teams. It should be a competitive, clean game.
Pine Castle Christian has 3 to their name. Meanwhile, Canterbury with 1 back in 2011. Here's how the Crusaders got here yesterday in their semifinal game against Academy at the Lakes. They were the favorites going in, but they were down 3-0 until Kelsey Hill pushed across the first run of the game. Whitney Laurent was thrown out at the plate, but things started looking up from there for Canterbury. They came alive in the 5th inning, put up 10 runs, and beat Academy at the Lakes 13-3. Meanwhile, Pine Castle Christian made quick work of Princeton Christian 19-0. Kaylee Bitterman led off the game with a triple, and she carried that hot bat and start into the pitching circle, throwing her first career perfect game. So keep your eye on the matchup between Kaylee Bitterman and the youngster Danielle Romanello for the Crusaders.
Romanello, just an 8th grader, batting .456 with 10 home runs. She has pure power at the plate and understands her strike zone.
And she's already verbal to your Florida Gators. Meanwhile, Kaylee Bitterman, a fixture in the circle for the Eagles.
You know, Bitterman leads this team both offensively and defensively. She threw a perfect game yesterday and is batting .625 on the season.
The Crusaders are on a mission to bring back the title to the Bay Area, but Pine Castle Christian wants to prove Central Florida softball is stronger. The I-4 showdown is next.
The Bright House Sports Network Game of the Week is presented by Subway Restaurants. Right now at Subway Restaurants, get a 6-inch oven-roasted chicken sub for just $3. Subway, eat fresh.
The stage is set for the 2A state championship game between Canterbury and Pine Castle Christian. Both teams have histories here at this title game stage here at the Vero Beach Sports Complex. The Crusaders on the visiting side of the scoreboard. Let's take a look at their starting lineup.
Hi, I'm Lauren Bonds, and I play for the Canterbury softball program. First off, we have Savannah Mitchell, also Savvy, who plays first base and is our senior. She's been playing since her 8th grade year. Then we have Lindsay Graves, our center fielder, who's a freshman. Fantastic. Then we have Danielle Romanello, our catcher, phenomenal 8th grader. Then we have Taylor Bump, our shortstop, also an 8th grader. Kama Whittle, our pitcher, another 8th grader. Maddie Posey, our third baseman, our sophomore. Whitney Laurent, our senior right fielder. Miranda Posey, our 8th grader second baseman, and Kelsey Hill, our senior left fielder. Let's go Crusaders and win a championship.
They are up against Kaylee Bitterman, the senior who has commanded the circle all season long, 21 wins, only 6 losses and 171 strikeouts. She racked up 9 of them yesterday in that semifinal game.
You know, scouting report on Bitterman is that she's going to throw a drop, a screw, try to get hitters to chase on her rise, but her out pitch is her changeup. She's going to throw it multiple times in the count and try to get the hitters off balance and chase.
Savvy Mitchell, the senior for Canterbury, 5th-year starter on varsity for Jody Moore. She leads things off and evens the count at 1-1. Mitchell is committed to FAU. So she'll play college ball. And because the Crusaders have seen Bitterman before these two teams have played each other, faced each other last year, they know the scouting report on Bitterman. They know she likes to throw that changeup. Over to Cordova. Cordova records the first down of the ball game. Let's take a look at the Eagles defense. You saw Cordova tossing the out to first. Along with her in the infield is Alex Thomas, Lissa Richard, and Maya Alm. And in the outfield, it's Kayla Gatton, Emily Robinson, and Jamari Ridley. And behind the plate is Casey Gerhardt. And Coach Richard says Gerhardt is a great leader behind the plate.
Gerhardt was taking catching lessons by Gator great Kristen Butler, who was, you know, just an anchor as a catcher for the Gators, and it shows in Gerhardt's performance that she is a very well-trained catcher.
So Lindsay Graves now standing in for the Crusaders. A .307 batting average for the freshman. She moved up in the lineup just for the postseason. Normally spotted at 6 during the regular season, but Coach Moore said she really came along, saw something in her eye for the playoffs. That pitch missed just outside.
As a slapper, it's going to be hard for Graves to be patient against Bitterman because you're trying to let the ball get deep so you can chop it down on the ground. And with the changeup, it's going to be hard for Graves to stay in the box to make contact.
So now 1-2, and in yesterday's semifinal game, Graves got hit by a pitch, and you can see her wearing a sleeve over her right elbow.
And she's rocking the Evo shield.
And she reached for that one, stays alive. With this Canterbury team, you never know with them. They can come from behind, they can get out ahead quickly, but they have the potential to put up so many runs on you just like they did in yesterday's semifinal. And Jody Moore now in her 8th season at Canterbury. Rollins College graduate, played both softball and soccer. Helped lead the Crusaders to a 2011 1A state championship as Bitterman records her first strikeout. We'd like to welcome our viewers on Cox Sports Television and CSS to Bright House Sports Network's production of the Florida High School Athletic Association's 2013 softball finals. And Moore, who spent a couple of seasons under Trinity Prep's Kathy Finucane in that great program with the Saints, then took over 8 years ago, and that one came in high and close to the face guard of Danielle Romanello.
But Bitterman knows that she can't leave anything on the white with how tough of a hitter Romanella is. So she's trying to hit her corners, hit on the black, but gotta let that curveball get away from her too much.
Romanella leads this Crusaders offense and leads Pinellas County with 10 home runs this season.
One thing I love watching Romanella swing or in and at bat is watching her take pitches. You know, she has a game plan. She has a game plan out there, and when she doesn't see the pitch she likes, she's taking it, but still, it's aggressive take.
And it sounds simple in theory, but Coach Moore says you want to swing at the strikes and stay off the balls, but what they do before games is try to name the pitch that they want. And in naming that, they can only swing for that.
Very young hitters understand really what their pitch is. So when you get them thinking about it, it helps them.
Strike 3, and Kaylee Bitterman with 2 strikeouts to start this ball game. The momentum carrying over from yesterday's semifinal. The Eagles, top of the batting order, coming up after the break. Great hospitality here in Vero Beach at the Vero Beach Sports Village, and as we are set to see the bottom of the inning, Here's Pine Castle Christian's starting lineup.
Hi, I'm Emily Robinson, number 5, starting center fielder of Pine Castle Christian Academy Eagles. And here is your starting lineup. Kaylee Bitterman, pitching. Lissa Richhart, playing second base. She's not feeling good today, but she's going to pull it together and come through for us. Odalis Cordova, playing shortstop. Alex Thomas, playing first base. Casey Gerhard, catching. Emily Robinson, myself. And Maya playing third base. Ashley Gerhard, the DP, and Jamari Ridley. And the flex, Kayla Gayton. Go Eagles!
Kama Woodall in the circle for the Crusaders. She started every game this season for Canterbury.
And Woodall's going to throw a screwball, and a changeup. And the best thing about Woodall is that she has great command over her pitches. She knows where it's going to go every time.
Just an 8th grader, recently turned 14 years of age, and Coach Moore says she is so mature, so calm, so relaxed in that circle.
And it helps because it's a great battery with Woodall and Romanella. They're the same age, they've grown up together, and they work very well together.
You saw those numbers flash up for Kaylee Bitterman. You saw it right, 625 batting average. That one tails foul off the right field line, but 625 batting average, 60 hits this season. I mean, she has been super productive at the top of the lineup.
And she's very even kill. You know, interviewing her yesterday, it just seems like she goes to the softball field and plays the game she loves, doesn't get caught up in all the drama.
She lays off that pitch. 7 years for this Eagles starter. Hoping to take home a state title in her last year. She comes into today's contest on a 25-game hitting streak. Hoping to find a way to extend that in her first at-bat against Woodall.
Well, Woodall just threw Bitterman's favorite pitch to her, a changeup, but Bitterman was able to see it out of her hand and stay back and foul it off.
A bit of an advantage from pitcher to pitcher. Does the pitcher see it any better because she's used to throwing a lot of those pitches?
I know pitchers love to look at the hand to try to see if they can peek see the grip so they can have an advantage.
Nice at bat, but Miranda Posey retires Kaylee Bitterman. So in the infield, it's Savvy Mitchell, Miranda Posey, Taylor Bumpin, Maddie Posey, and in the outfield, it's senior Kelsey Hill, Lindsey Graves, and Whitney Laurent. We talked already about Danielle Romanella in the open and Kama Woodall in the circle. Romanella, you don't see often a left-handed catcher.
No, you don't. The only left-hand catcher that I can think of played at Washington, and she was a stud behind the plate. But Romanella said she wouldn't have it any other way. She prefers to be a lefty catcher versus a righty.
And interestingly enough, Woodall says she had never pitched and played with a lefty catcher. She says now she doesn't want to go back.
That's all she wants now.
That's all she wants. Lissa Richard in that number 2 spot. So the Eagles start off the top of the batting order, senior, and then it's a very young team after that. Richard also 7th year on varsity. And she pops it out to Mitchell. 2 out in the inning. Mark Richard now in his 13th season with the Eagles, reigning 2A Coach of the Year, has done a phenomenal job with the Eagles. 3 state titles to his credit. And a great motivator for these young ladies. Dallas Cordova now in the batter's box. Just a 7th grader, but 446 batting average on the season.
And Coach Richard said she's just a contact hitter. She's not going to overpower you, but she's going to get on with those singles and try to beat something out.
And Cordova has had to step into A very tough spot taking over for Emily Carasoni now starting at Auburn. She gets a bat on that one, but Miranda Posey takes care of business. So 1-2-3 for Kama Woodall and the Crusaders. Meat of that batting order for Canterbury coming up in the top of the second. Well, on a hot and sunny day like this, you'd like to have some access to the beach. Not too far away from the Bureau Beach Sports Village is the ocean. Wish we could be there. Maybe we'll take a trip there after the game.
Yeah.
Either way, the Crusaders have been led by a young movement of 8th graders. Taylor Bump up to bat, and she's not the only one on that team. 5 8th graders leading this Crusaders team.
And then you have the 8th graders are in the spots of hitting 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So they're in the meat of the lineup. They are asked to be run producers, to score those runs in. So that's a lot of pressure for being such young girls.
So Taylor Bump now in that cleanup spot. First-year starter. Takes ball 1. And when we were talking with Coach Moore, she mentioned how great of a leader Bump is. She says you normally don't see that in someone as young as an 8th grader, but she really knows how to rally the team together.
And she mentioned that she pulls this team together, and when you're in the when you play position like shortstop or catcher, you're asked to be a leader on the field. You're asked to bring the team together, and that's what Bump understood when she took the starting position over at shortstop.
So shortstop is Bump. Behind the plate is Romanella. Interestingly enough, Danielle and Taylor are best friends. So Bitterman now ahead of the count, 1-2. That one inside. So Bitterman looking to really carry that excitement and energy and effort into today's game after her first career perfect game.
Yeah, and that last pitch right before that changeup in the dirt was perfectly placed. You know, she had 2 strikes, so she didn't want to leave anything too over the plate. So instead, she hit the up and in quadrant to try to jam the Bump hitter.
Right back up the middle, sends the ball by Bump, and she gets aboard with the base hit. This game is produced by Bright House Sports Network, the official television partner of the Florida High School Athletic Association. Bright House Sports Network is your home for high school sports. Had a tough time getting that one out.
Yeah.
Let's just say a single up the middle. How about that? So no perfect game today for Bitterman. As Kama Woodall looks at strike 1. 365 average on the season, 19 RBI. Part of that 8th grade group for the Crusaders. Bitterman taking her time, delivers it over to Alm. Alm tosses it over to second. Can they get Woodall at first? No, but the force out at second. And there's one down.
Alm being very heads up, knowing that she needs to get that double play, cleans it, fields it cleanly, and just fires it over to second base to get the sure out.
So Alm takes care of the lead runner. And Maddie Posey now ready to step in. Sophomore third baseman.
Number 7, courtesy runner for the pitcher.
And just checking in is Lacey Shearer, the courtesy runner for the pitcher. Interesting story on Shearer. She never played softball, and she's almost tagged out at first. Never played softball, but Coach Moore recruited her. She's a volleyball player. She says she's got really good feet and said, hey, can you come run the base pads for me? And she takes off, and she makes it to second easily. So showing off those wheels early on.
You know, Gearhart kind of double pumped when she saw that the courtesy runner was stealing. She didn't get a quick enough throw to get the out there. And it just got past the shortstop Cordova.
So runner now in scoring position for Canterbury. Right back to the pitcher. Bitterman fields it, out number 2. Bitterman very solid in the circle, only 2 errors all season.
You know, she's a senior out there on the field, and she really needs to command her defense and calm them down in a situation where, you know, there's runners on and putting pressure on the D.
And Whitney Laurent takes a look at strike 1. Hits her in the knee. She trots over to first. So runners at the corner.
Just a screwball getting away from Bitterman, runs a little bit too inside just to hit Lauren enough so she can take her base.
That one looked like it stung right on like just the edge of the kneecap.
That's not a good feeling.
So Pine Castle Christian talking it over in the circle. This inning started off with a single by Taylor Bump. And Posey looking to bring across the first run of the game.
A lot to ask of another 8th grader.
The 0-2 offering from Bitterman. Wide up the middle, and that's an RBI single from Posey. She comes through. And Lacey Shearer tags the plate first for the first run of the game. Crusaders get on the board.
You know, Bitterman just held on to that changeup too long, and it wasn't able to break down. It hung up into the zone, and Posey was able to recognize it, stay back, and just send it right back up the middle.
So we talked about that youth movement, and the 8th grader produces. Kelsey Hill, one of the senior captains on this team, worked her way into the starting lineup. She spent the last 3 seasons as a courtesy runner or a pinch runner for Jody Moore. Now she has an opportunity to come through for her Crusaders. But back-to-back strikes by Bitterman. And trying to steal third is Whitney Laurent, but she is gunned down by Casey Gerhardt. So 1 run across, but the inning ends on a cannon of a shot from Gerhardt. 1-0 as we go into the bottom of the second. In this 2A state championship game, Tiffany Green, Francesca Anea, Canterbury versus Pine Castle Christian and the Crusaders. The visitors on the scoreboard put up 1 first, and as we join Coach Jody Moore. Coach, yesterday you guys were playing from behind. Today, how big is it to get on the board first?
Well, it's always good to get on the board first, so you know, it's a long game and we know that, so we're going to try and inch away every inning.
All right, thanks so much, Coach. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Alex Thomas now steps in, swings through strike 1. Freshman first baseman, 340 batting average, and Coach Richard says she is the workhorse of this team. You see Coach Richard there down the third base line calling the signals. Thomas ready to apply. Takes a look at strike 2. Swings through that one. First K collected by Woodall.
Woodall mentioned that when she gets ahead of a righty batter, she's going to come up with that rise ball, and that's exactly what she did. Had it starting low in the zone and then break just last minute so Thomas can swing underneath it.
Casey Gerhardt. Already verbal to Florida State back in February. 1 home run on the season. Coach says she's got a powerful bat. We saw her rocket arm to end that second inning, or the top of the second.
She's a very aggressive hitter. You know, she wants to get that big hit. She puts a lot of pressure on herself for being just a young sophomore, but she wants to come up with that big hit, and she plays with a ton of heart, which, you know, you have to give your hats off to her.
So things are evened up at 2 apiece. The Eagles defeated Princeton Christian 19-0 in the semifinals. To make it to their second straight championship game. Last year they lost it on a controversial call to Grandview Prep, 6-5, so they're looking to redeem themselves. Casey Gerhardt is aboard with a walk. Log on to www.bhsn.com for the most up-to-date scores, stats, and information on all the FHSAA state finals. Log on now to see all the highlights, photos, and recaps from the 2013 FHSAA softball finals. Bright House Sports Network is your home for high school sports. Channel 47, HD 1147, and www.bhsn.com. Sarah Goldsmith in the pinch run for Gerhardt. Just a 7th grader for this Eagles team. And how important is it to get that experience so early on? A lot of the players on both sides can play in that 7th, 8th grade range because it's a private school, but how important is that experience getting it so young? You
know, it's probably why both these schools have been so successful and get to the state championships every year, because they can recruit these girls so young, and they, you know, they're taught very young on, you know, how important these games are, and they learn tradition very, very quickly.
Emily Robinson, the junior center fielder, did a great job reading through the starting lineups at the beginning of the broadcast. She was 2 for 2 in yesterday's semifinal, scored 2 runs. She pops it up to right field. Miranda Posey gets it, and they throw out Goldsmith at first. So for the second time, runner is thrown out to end the inning. Great heads-up play by the Crusaders. They take a 1-0 lead going into the top of the third. We welcome you back to this 2A state championship game, the first of 4 games here at the Vero Beach Sports Village. We are joined by Mark Richard, the head coach of the Pine Castle Christian Eagles. And being down 1 run, what did you tell your team?
Oh, just not to give up. They haven't given up all season. And it's a great group of girls, so it's going to be a battle all the way to the end.
All right, thanks, Coach. We appreciate your time as he has to get back to
absolutely
the duties of
thanks.
Calling the pitches for Kaylee Bitterman. So he's a busy man throughout this ball game. And when talking with Coach Richard yesterday, you know, he does some really unique things with this ball club to help for team building. And so he says before the semifinal game, they went on a scavenger hunt, and they were having to put a sentence together, and it was to pursue with the intent of capture. So they've been pursuing all along to get to this point, looking to capture a 2A title.
Well, when he said that he's, you know, a different coach, a weird coach, and the only thing that he said that made him weird and different was that he tried to bring the team together to do team building activities, to create great team chemistry. And that's what great coaches do. I mean, he's been at Pine Castle Christian for 13 years, so he understands that to have a successful championship team, you need to have great team chemistry.
And for both squads, and talking with the players and coaches, I mean, they really seem like they have a strong, tight bond. A family. You hear it all the time from any sport and teams coming together and saying, yeah, you know, we're close, we're like sisters, we're like brothers, but you really see it in action.
And the Canterbury team, they believe it. I mean, I think they wanted to tell us numerous stories of why they were so close together.
Off the glove of Alm, and Kelsey Hill is aboard. Hill, a vocal leader for this Crusaders team.
Hill just got a good piece of it and fired it to third baseman Am, and Am just couldn't, you know, get that hot shot in cleanly in her glove.
He'll make sure to keep this team together, one of 4 seniors on the team. And here's Savvy Mitchell, another one of those seniors.
You know, and be sure that Hill on first base is going to want to get into scoring position soon. She'll probably steal on the first or second pitch.
Just as you said it, she slides into second.